Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're taking a close look at, well, a really explosive public conflict. We've got sources covering this battle between Britney Spears and her ex-husband, Kevin Federline.
Yeah.
It's all centered around his new memoir.
That's right. And our mission here isn't just to rehash celebrity gossip. We're digging into what the sources say this is really about. Profit, sure, but also dignity. Her dignity.
Yeah, the core issue seems to be Federline dropping this tell-all, and Britney's reaction, which was fast and, frankly, furious. She seems to see it as a calculated hit right after she got her freedom back.
Exactly. And for you listening, especially if you followed her fight against the conservatorship, it's a big deal. It's about who gets to write her story now she finally has control back, or who tries to write it.
He spent years under a system that controlled her narrative, and now, bam, her ex tries to sell his version of her past.
That's the conflict right there. And the big question our sources raise is this memoir his genuine truth, his side of things? Or is it maybe a last-ditch effort to make money off her life, off her name?
And maybe off her trauma, too. It's a heavy question. Okay, let's get into the specifics. The trigger seems to be the timing of this whole thing. That's key to her argument.
Definitely. She didn't just ignore it. She came out publicly October 15th, making a very deliberate statement.
And the timing she highlights.
Yeah.
It's pretty stark, isn't it?
It is. The sources really zeroed in on this. The memoir's release happens almost immediately after his child support payments from her officially stopped.
Right. Let's pause on that. For years, he had this guaranteed income based on her earnings, essentially.
Significant income.
And then it stops. And almost the next day, seemingly, there's this book deal ready to go. It fills that exact financial gap, doesn't it?
It certainly looks that way, and that's the connection Britney herself seems to be making loud and clear. It shifts the potential motive, doesn't it? From sharing history to, well, needing income.
So in her view, it's not about truth-telling. It's about replacing lost funds using the most valuable asset he has access to, her story.
Precisely. And that adds another layer to the feeling of betrayal. The sources point out, he was once positioned sometimes as someone protecting her during those really intense years.
Right, or at least present.
Present, exactly. So to take that shared, often painful history and monetize it right when she's trying to find some peace post-conservatorship, she seems to see that as the ultimate kind of strategic low blow.
Sissy escaped one cage only to find someone else trying to build another one around her narrative.
That's a good way to put it. Legally free, but is her story ever truly hers if someone else can keep selling pieces of it?
Okay, so that leads us straight to how she responded. Her specific words. She didn't mince them.
No, she didn't. The sources pull out some really potent quotes.
This one really stands out. Those white lies in that book, they're going straight to the bank. Direct.
Yeah.
Links the alleged lies straight to the money.
Yep. And then there's the psychological angle she brings in. She used the term gaslighting.
Which is huge, especially now. In the context of surviving control and manipulation, that word carries immense weight.
It really does. It reframes the whole book. It's not just him disagreeing or exaggerating. She's saying it's deliberate attempt to make her question her own reality, her own memories.
That's a powerful accusation. It takes it way beyond a simple spat. She's saying this is about humiliation, about invalidating her experience. A betrayal for profit, as she put it.
And here we hit that core tension, his truth versus her truth. Maybe for him, the book is his genuine recollection of a really complex time, being married to a superstar, the chaos.
But for her,
that recollection is built on her trauma, her struggles, things she likely never wanted public again. So fighting this isn't just about fame. It's about owning her pain, owning her story, and stopping others from, selling tickets to her past.
the stakes feel incredibly high. And the specific claims allegedly in the book reflect that. Let's talk about those. The sources detail some really disturbing content allegations, particularly around her mental health and parenting.
Yeah, this is where it gets quite dark. The book apparently paints a picture of severe instability during their marriage.
And there's one story in particular the sources highlight because it's just so visceral and shocking.
The knife story. The allegation that he saw her standing silently by their son's bedroom door, holding a knife.
Wow. Okay, that's not a vague claim. That's incredibly specific.
Yeah.
And incredibly damaging.
Extremely damaging. Think about the impact of that allegation. Post-conservatorship, questions about mental health, stability, parenting, putting that image out there. A weapon near children. It's designed, you could argue, to create a permanent public perception of her being unfit or dangerous.
It's the kind of claim that's almost impossible to fully disprove or walk back once it's out there.
Hmm.
It really makes you question the intent behind including something so inflammatory.
Exactly. If the goal was just his truth, why that specific explosive anecdote?
So how did she respond to that specific claim? She must have addressed it directly.
She did. She didn't let it hang there.
Yeah.
She called that story specifically hurtful, disturbing, and exhausting. She insisted that whatever kernel of truth might be buried in there has been twisted completely out of shape.
Sensationalized for sales.
That's the implication. Twisted beyond recognition was her phrase. It suggests maybe something happened, some moment. But the context, the nuance, the why, all stripped away, leaving just this damaging, shocking headline.
And when you're fighting for your reputation, especially regarding your kids, that kind of distortion can be just as bad as a total fabrication.
Absolutely. Which sadly leads us to the real-world impact this is having, or allegedly having, on her relationship with her children. Her response to the memoir included some heartbreaking details about that.
She revealed she's barely seen her sons in years. That's just devastating to hear stated so plainly.
It is, and she didn't just say it vaguely. She gave these, painful little examples.
Right, like one son visiting for only 45 minutes.
And seeing the other one just a handful of times, it paints this picture of profound distance. And her argument seems to be that public attacks like this memoir, allegedly driven by Federline, only make that distance worse. It contradicts any idea that he's trying to protect the kids' privacy here.
It feels like the opposite, like he's potentially using that strained relationship as content for the book.
That's certainly how her comments frame it. And her final point on this was gut-wrenching. She said every memory, every interaction is being rewritten through someone else's version of the truth.
That's such a powerful way to put it. Like, even her own history with her kids is being reshaped by outside narratives. Narratives potentially driven by profit.
Yeah. And when you feel like your own past, your relationship with your children is being manipulated and sold like that, well, it explains her next move.
Which was?
Her declaration. She's done staying silent.
Okay, that sounds like a major shift. From defense to offense, almost.
Or at least taking active control. She signaled a change in how she'll communicate. She said she'll now speak directly to her children when she can. No more filters.
I'm getting out the middleman.
Exactly. Refusing to let the memoir or the media coverage of it shape her kids' understanding of her. She's trying to reclaim that direct connection, bypass the whole machine that's trying to exploit the situation.
That really is the ultimate power move in this kind of narrative battle, isn't it? Just refuse to play the game through intermediaries anymore. Go direct.
It seems to be her strategy now. Because when you look at all the source material, boiling it down, the conflict is crystal clear. It's a fight over who owns the story of Britney Spears. Her life, her trauma, her voice.
And now with this book timed just so, it feels like it's all become a commodity again, right when she thought she'd escaped that.
So let's recap the key takeaways for you. First, that really suspicious timing, the book dropping right as the child support ended. Major red flag, according to her.
Then her direct accusations, calling it gaslighting, betrayal for profit, framing it not just as lies, but as deliberate psychological manipulation.
And finally, the heartbreaking reality of her limited contact with her sons, a situation she clearly feels is being exploited, not helped, by this kind of public exposure.
So the core question for you, the listener, becomes about motive and impact. Is this book truly about exposing some necessary truth? Or is it about cashing in on a very valuable, very painful life story that Britney herself is desperately trying to reclaim?
Right. And just as we wrap up this deep dive, here's something else to chew on, hinted at in the sources. They mentioned that what Britney said next, well, it might just expose the real reason behind this so-called tell-all.
Okay, so if the money motive seems obvious and the personal damage is clear, what else could be going on?
Exactly. What other reasons might Federline have? Are there deeper financial pressures we don't know about? Legal entanglements, hidden debts, contractual things? What can motivate someone to risk such public backlash and potentially damage relationships even further?
What unseen factors might be driving this high-stakes gamble to control a multi-million-dollar narrative? That's the lingering question, something to really think about.